Welcome to the Purposepreneur Podcast with K. Francis Smith.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Purposepreneur Show. I am K. Francis Smith, the Purposepreneur, and I help people find, fund, and fulfill their purpose in life so they can live their best life and so the world can become a better place. I literally help people build business around purpose. Now, you might not have asked yourself this question, but today I've got to ask you this question. Here's the question. Are you ready? Why do you exist? Why do you exist? I had a good talk with a friend this week, and he was asking me, do you think most people know their life's purpose? I said, I don't know. I mean, only around 25% of American adults cite having a clear sense of purpose about what makes their lives meaningful. And that's according to the New York Times analysis. They did a study on this thing. And now guess what? 40% of American adults either claim neutrality on the subject or say they have absolutely no clue why they exist. This means that people are wandering aimlessly. And I wonder why there's so much crime. I wonder why divorce rates are so high. I wonder why there's a lack of productivity, because when you live life without purpose, there is no meaning. You're doing the what, you've learned the how, but you've not quite tapped into the why. Once you get that why down pat, guess what? You stop quitting. Let me give somebody this one. If you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. Your life is your masterpiece. As a matter of fact, your life starts off as a blank piece of paper. This is the beginning of your life. This is what it looks like. So whatever gets put on this piece of paper, you get the credit for it. You get the benefit for it. You have the responsibility of it. So that means you started off with a blank piece of paper, and whatever's on that paper right now, whether it's a spouse, a child, a job, or a place to live, guess who put it there? You had the responsibility of putting it there, and you get the credit. Isn't that amazing? You got a blank piece of paper. We can't complain about people because we take the responsibility as purposepreneurs. We know it's our job to fill in this blank piece of paper. And we spend so much of our lives trying to fill it in that we don't realize why we're filling it in. So we end up with this paper full of stuff. And in the end, we kind of hate the way it looks. Well, I'm here to change that. I'm here to let you know you don't need a governing body, a sanctioning school, or a job to validate you or to make money. You can make money being you. Who you are is enough. What's inside of you is enough to take you wherever you're supposed to go. Now, this segment is called Do It on Purpose. And we've got a world-class speaker. He is one of the top speakers in personal development space. Man has over 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube. He's one of the most recognized voices in this space that we call personal development. And I am delighted just to say his name. This guy here is probably one of the most disciplined people on the planet. So I'm going to call in Mr. Tom Bilyeu to do it on purpose. Tom, take us in on purpose.
My parents' biggest frustration was that I was epically lazy. And if they handed out gold medals for being lazy, I would have won, I assure you, hands down. Because even though I was a slightly chubby kid growing up in a morbidly obese family in Tacoma, Washington, I always knew two things about myself. One day I was going to be rich, and I was going to have six-pack abs. Like, those are the two things, as that kid that was, jiggling his belly thinking, one day I'm not going to have to suck in my gut. When I left for college, my own mother, who had always been my biggest cheerleader, quietly assumed I was going to fail. But these two guys that were successful entrepreneurs and bodybuilders happened to walk into a class when I was a teacher. And they were just starting a technology startup, and they said, hey, we need a copywriter. Why don't you come be a copywriter? And so I was just young enough and just dumb enough, and I went all in. They literally put me in the room with all the computer servers. But starting from there, I knew I could wow people because I was willing to grind it out. And we all have a superpower, and my superpower may be the willingness and ability to endure suffering. I had suffered a lot. I hadn't taken a day off in like 6.5 years because I was so hell-bent to get rich. And then I realized, almost 8.5 years in, I had finally had enough. I had hit my breaking point from suffering, and I got so mad, and I was so unwilling to do it anymore. And I turned to my partners and I say, I'm completely miserable, I quit. I realized the reason I was living the cliche of money can't buy happiness. Along the way, had become so myopically focused on this promise I had made to myself as a kid that I never stopped to ask, why do I want to get rich? The questions you ask yourself will determine the course of your life. I had been asking myself, what do I need to do to get rich? And it left me really unhappy. So I changed the question, and I started asking, what would I do and love every day, even if I were failing? Life is too short. This is your one go-round. So what are we going to do? We're going to build a company that's predicated on value. We're going to build a company that's predicated on passion. I started thinking about my mom and my sister, but they were profoundly overweight. I started thinking about my uncle who ate himself to death when I was 12 years old, and how much that scared me, and it made me sad. And it made me sad to see that there were millions, if not more than 1 billion people that were in the same kind of abusive relationship with food that my mom and my sister were. So I said, I don't know if it's a big business, but I know it's a big problem. And that's the problem that we're going to solve. And so we decided to build a totally new kind of company. We started Quest Nutrition in 2010, just as we were coming out of the Great Recession. I was wearing a hairnet and a lab coat every day, and my employees were former gang members, ex-drug dealers, felons. We were in Compton, and we literally told everybody in the neighborhood, I don't care if you've been convicted of a crime, you're gonna get an interview, and I'm not gonna ask for your resume. I don't care about your resume. Your resume tells me where you've been. It doesn't tell me the price you're willing to pay to become somebody new. Every belief that you have is a choice. I choose to believe that human potential is nearly limitless, and this was the belief that changed my life, because once I realized, so it's not about who you are today, it's about who you want to become and the price you're willing to pay to get there. And I promise you, the day that you're willing to pay any price, you'll achieve what you want to achieve. If you truly believe that human potential is limitless, what do you want to become? And what price are you willing to pay to get there?
Tom, you're talking to me. You're waking something up, Tom, you do it every time. He's talking about starting off lazy. Then he starts to talk about you got to have that base, you got to have that dog in you. You can't stop. You got to keep going, right? You got to keep going. And you have to know why you're doing this thing. And you got to be willing to do what it takes. Most people say they want it, but they don't want to do what it takes to get to it. Sometimes it takes a whole lot to get there, but whatever it takes, you've got to be willing to make that sacrifice, make that commitment, bite down on it and get there. Trust me, there are no shortcuts to success. There are no shortcuts to purpose. There's not even an elevator to purpose. You got to take the stairs. So you better get your step counter, get ready, and be prepared mentally. This all starts in your mind. It goes in your mind. Whatever you believe you can or cannot do, it's on you. It's true. I promise you, you can do it if you believe you can. That's entry-level belief. But guess what? Now that you're qualified, you've got to get yourself the rest of the way. It's on you. Are you going to do it? What are you going to do? You're going to get started today? Today's the day for you to get started. We're waiting on you. Time's waiting on you. The world is waiting on you. Your purpose is calling you. Maybe you're already on the pathway to purpose. Guess what? Don't quit. Don't quit. What do you need? Who do you need? Where are you in the process? Are you gauging it? Let's go. Purpose is serious. My life has been filled with meaningful experiences, but some of the most meaningful experiences came at lowest points. There were points in my life where I felt like everyone was exiting and everything was bottoming out. And those were the most purposeful times because I got to reflect. Let me give you the etymology of alone. It's 2 words, all and one. You need all one time. We all need all one time. So it's not just alone time, it's all one time. It's where books are written. It's where screenplays are written. It's where great thoughts are developed. It's where creativity is birthed. It's all one time. So you can have a thought, an idea, you can have some things sketched out, but when you get all one time, it all comes together. And that's where masterpieces are made. You were designed in all one time. All right. So there we are. I'm going to transition this thing. Listen, man, I've had some experiences. I remember on our honeymoon. That was many, many moons ago. We were on our honeymoon and we were in St. Thomas. I'll never forget this guy's name. His name was Evans, right? Guy named Evans. He lived over there in St. Thomas. And what he did was he would talk to us about the beach and he talked to us about timeshare. Oh, man, he took us on a tour. I'll never forget the tour, and they're all the same. We've done it a few times. We haven't done it in many, many years, but we used to do them. Timeshares, you ever done a timeshare? It's kind of like this. You go into a room, there's a bunch of people, there's some hard sausages, and there's a guy over there, and he says, everybody, hey, I need your attention. We want to welcome the newest owners of Unit 772, Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Hey, everybody claps it up. Hey, clap it up, right? And then you're sitting there and you're going, oh, people are buying, right? And then they stop it again. And then you sit down and they tell you it's going to be 90 minutes. 90 minutes, they tell you, right? And then you start to go on the tour and this guy's talking to you. Oh, this is my daughter. Her name is Maria, right? And she's over in Mexico and we're trying to get her here. And you're looking at her, his wallet, he's showing you pictures of his daughter. You start feeling all bad. Oh, man, his daughter Maria, and this is my wife, Guatemala. She's over in Mexico as well. And you start, I'm trying to get them here. So now he's taking you on a tour. And you know, I always tell him in the beginning, listen, I'm telling you the truth. I'm here for the breakfast and I'm here for the vacation. I'm not here to buy, you guys would call me a moocher. I'm not here for your timeshare. Oh, no problem. Man, we're going to take the tour. It's going to be fast. We're going to be over. Boom. And then by the end of the tour, we come back and he says, okay, you don't want to buy? No, I don't want to buy. I didn't come here. I did not come here to buy your timeshare. I'm not buying your timeshare. Oh, you don't care about my daughter? Whoa. You don't care about my daughter? You mean you don't care about my family? Hey, bro, somebody come get this guy because it's about to go down over some timeshare. And they start getting in space and pressuring you. And then by the time he sits you down, you're sitting down, and then you don't want to talk to him. Okay, I'll be right back. And then another guy comes, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay? Oh, I'm so sorry for what happened with him. You know, what can we do to make this right? And you go through 5 people to get out of there in 6 hours? Man, listen to me. Been there, done that. I haven't done that in years. And there's a reason why I stopped doing timeshares. Now, this next story, it'll touch your heart. It's about timeshare, but I really want you to pay attention. If you're in a timeshare, maybe you are. Maybe you're trying to get out of it. And this story here, if you've never been engaged in a timeshare presentation, I just want you to check this out because this could happen to you. Let's check this out about timeshare.
Everybody, I guess, who went along on that had an appointment. We found out it was a sales presentation. There were 2 main things. Well, he said that he had a 10-year plan. I asked him several times. Well, he said it's a policy that if either one of you passes away, then your membership, it'll be forgiven, even if you own money.
Paid off, okay.
Paid off.
We never saw that in writing, though.
Okay.
And he called us. And he said, you need to have this. You shouldn't rescind.
Put a lot of pressure on us.
Left. What is the total amount that you owe on those 2 contracts? It's my understanding, is it 190 or 197?
Something like that, yes, 100 and... I don't have those figures in my mind right now, but...
Over 190,000.
It's around 190. Well, the maintenance fees, we got that notice and we about fell over. $19,000 plus dollars for
Okay.
1 year, just maintenance fees.
We really lost
So-
sleep over that.
Did you? I imagine.
It affected us terribly.
Um,
Because there was things in the contract we were never told.
Wow. Wow, man. There's got to be a special place for people who do things like that to people. My heart goes out to them and anyone who's been taken advantage of by anyone who has just totally abused the system. That's designed really to help people get, I guess, vacations, but at the end of the day, really help people make money at the same time. Because you think about this, you think about one unit going for, just say $20,000, and let's just say you do that with 50 people, you've got yourself $1 million on one unit. There are 52 weeks in a year, right? So each person gets 1 week. Now you've got $1 million off one unit. Check out the math, right? So if you're in a timeshare and this is a time where you're trying to get out of it, well, Forbes says that you can go to the website, responsibleexit.com, all right? If you're trying to get out of a timeshare during these times, which you might want to be, and you're thinking conventionally, maybe you're thinking, well, either I can sell it or I can give it back and take the hit. Well, there may be some other options because Forbes says you can go to a website called responsibleexit.com, and there are some viable options there for you, okay? I hope that helps, and I hope you can get out of that thing. Listen, any debt that's putting a noose around your neck, anything you cannot afford, it's time to get rid of it. Get that weight up off your neck, off your back, off your shoulders. It's time to be free, right? We want to live free lives. Remember, rich people have what? Money. Wealthy people have what? Time. Time. That is the one valuable commodity that we cannot reproduce, okay? Maybe you're a small business owner. Maybe you started a company, and most times when you start your company, you're the number one employee. You're the one doing all the work. You open shop, you set up shop, and you run shop, right? Maybe you're that. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's the season you're in. Maybe that's the time frame, the time you're on right now. But guess what? We've all started somewhere. I remember being that guy, even in church. I remember being the guy who would get there first. I turned on the lights. I turned off the alarm first, turned on all the lights. Then I myself went, set up my own camcorder that I had bought on my own tripod that I had purchased. Then I would go in the back and I'd set up the sound. I mean, I taught the team. I taught my choir the songs. I mean, I really would set up the microphones. I mean, I did everything. I set up my projector, my projector back then. I mean, 2,000 lumens was like the world. I think it was 1,000 lumens. I set up my projector, and then it was on a desk, one of those old school desks, man. I mean, I had that thing set up, and I aimed it on a wall. There was not even a screen. I aimed it on the wall. I would get up there. I'd open up the service. I mean, I did everything. I washed the bathrooms. I mean, I closed it up, cleaned out the parking lot. I mean, I did everything. I set up chairs, prayed over chairs. I introduced myself. And that's some of the things that you have to do. Why? Because it's all about service. And somewhere along the way in making money and doing business, we forget that business is primarily about service. Service. That's the number one deal. Make your people happy. Serve. It's all about service. If you want to be great, be the best server. So I'm not going to keep talking, but I'm going to say this, that if you can serve well, you can do very well in business. The moment we start making so much money, we forget that it's about service. We lose our focus. So we've got the number one investor in the world, Warren Buffett, who's going to lead us into this next segment called Giving You the Business. Mr. Buffett, take us in and give us the business.
The best advice to a small business owner, or for that matter, to a large business owner, is never stop thinking about how to delight your customer. not to satisfy your customer, but to delight your customer. And when you wake up in the morning, start thinking about it. During the day, think about it. At night, think about it, and then dream about it. And no company's ever failed that had millions of delighted customers. And you start with them and you get them one at a time.
There's no substitute for hard work. The best time you're ever going to have is when it starts out just you, and it'd be great if it grows into a wonderful, big, profitable company. But you're never going to be happier and more satisfied than you are in the first year or so of getting your business going, because you do every single thing. You sweep up when everybody goes home. You're the first one in. You plug in the coffee pot, so when your people come in, they have hot coffee and can get straight to work. You work through lunch, set an example for them, but there's no substitute for hard work. People say luck, yes, but the harder you work, the luckier you get.
My advice to a small business owner or any entrepreneur would be not to be discouraged if the business you end up with is not the one you started out to pursue, because so often you encounter difficulties, you encounter failures, and the important piece is to learn from each of those very quickly and to pivot and to move on to the idea that works.
Of course, you have to be close to your products, close to your customers, and think about them. That's the most important, but don't forget to think about your business, what your plans are, what you want to do next, how to take your business to the next level. Again, think about being in your business, but think about your business as well.
My best advice is to really work hard to clarify what your purpose is and be able to articulate that, be able to communicate it in a simple sentence. And the reason that's important is as you bring people into your company, I think the most important question you ask them is, why are you here? Why do you want to join this company? And if you hear that purpose back, if you hear that passion around that purpose, makes everything a whole lot easier. Any skill can be learned and taught, but passion cannot.
Being an entrepreneur can be a roller coaster ride at times. You will have great days, you will have not so great days. You may even from time to time have an awful day. You've got to stay focused and stay level-headed and keep your feet on the ground.
Companies that do well at some level, even though it may not be written down on a piece of paper, need to have kind of a clear strategy of why they're different, why they're adding value, why they're producing something special that customers need and that they're not getting now. So I think if there's a clear sense of strategy and you can get all the people aligned around that, then you get a lot more power than if you're just scrambling and working harder and harder and without that clear direction. So that's my one piece of advice.
Wow, some of the best business advice I've heard in quite some time, particularly when Mr. Buffett said, figure out a way to delight your customers, right? Not satisfy them, delight them. He said, when you wake up in the morning, think about it. You're eating lunch, think about it. Through the day, think about it. When you go to bed, think about it. When you're asleep, dream about it. He's talking about delighting your customers. He said, no business ever went wrong doing that. When was the last time we thought about that one? I mean, you know it's going to be tough. After 30 plus years of business myself, from solopreneur to entrepreneur, it really challenges you when you have to shift professions, shift businesses, and you realize sometimes that you got on the wrong pair of shoes, if you would, or you're in the wrong business. Sometimes you just got to make a change. Sometimes you got to be willing to make adjustments. Sometimes when you're stuck, it's for a reason. It talked about scaling and, really knowing about that next place for your business. Big deal. Huge deal, the next place. Well, now we're going to shift into purpose. That's what we're here for, right? Business and purpose. So I'm going to go ahead into a segment called Teach 'em Up. And this is my chance, my opportunity, my privilege and my responsibility to go ahead and teach 'em up. So let's go on and teach 'em up. K. Francis Smith. Passion driving purpose. Passion driving purpose. You got to find your passion, right? There's a saying, find your passion, find a way to get paid for it. You never work a day of your life, right? Remember, retirement is when you no longer work for money. So I'm here to retire somebody today. We're talking about passion driving purpose, the thing that keeps you going, the reason why you cannot stop, The reason why they can't believe you're still going is because there's a passion that we've already discovered. Now, we already talked about this discovery part, and I've got that in some other lessons and some other courses. But for today, we're going to deal with passion, driving purpose. We can call it PDP. How about that? PDP. Let's start off with number one. Boom. What are you passionate about doing? What gives you delight? What is it that drives you? What is it that charges you? When you do this thing right here, this thing, when you do this, you're at your best. When you do this, you could do this in your sleep. This is something that literally is on you and you really can't get it off. What are you passionate about doing? That thing that won't go away. That's your passion. What is it that's in you that you haven't done yet, but you know you have to get it done, right? That's called passion. Maybe you're already doing it and it's time for you to do it professionally. That's your passion, all right? After that, we got to ask another question. What are you passionate about learning? Remember, leaders are learners. Earners are learners. High earners are heavy learners. We got to learn more. We got to learn more. But what are you passionate about learning? What is it that you could watch YouTube videos about all night long? That's not entertainment. That's education. Now, let me give you another one. Low-income people focus on entertainment. High-income people focus on education. Learning. What are you passionate about learning? That's going to be a clue. These are clues. Remember, success leaves clues. And there are clues to your passion driving your purpose as well. So what are you passionate about learning? Maybe you could sit down and talk about fishing all day. Maybe you love hunting. You could sit down and study rifles and study the climate, and you can study different animals. Maybe hunting is your passion. Maybe that's you. I don't know what it is, but whatever you're passionate about learning, that's a clue about your purpose, all right? And then we're going to go on to, who are you passionate about serving? Who are you passionate about serving? There are times in your life where you'll figure out whose pain you feel, right? Whose cause you would fight for, whose battle you'd fight, who you would stand up for, right? These are things that clue you in on your purpose. So you got to think about, who am I passionate about serving? As a pastor for many years and as a minister for many years, I'd sit in staff meetings. And as we talk about budget or we talk about ministry, it's always the person in the worship department that's talking about music and people being free. People need to be free to worship. And then it's the person in the outreach department or evangelism that talks about the lost souls. It's always the person who works in a homeless shelter talking about homeless people, right? And it's always somebody in the media department that talks about, we need to do this. We need to buy, we have to get LEDs and all of this stuff, right? They never talk about the outreach part. They just talk about LEDs and technical stuff. Why? Because they're passionate about serving a certain area. So you've got to learn who you're passionate about serving. Whenever I'm talking to a person who's out there in corporate space, they're always talking about people who are up and out. These are people in ministry, right? Whenever I talk to somebody who's at a shelter, they're talking about people who are poor, they're homeless, we got to serve them. So you've got to think about, who is it that you're passionate about serving? Now, serving is what this is really all about. If you're not about serving, you're not about business at all. You're in the wrong space if you're not about serving. You're talking about purpose. Purpose always has to do with someone else. Remember, you're the perfect solution to someone's problem. You are, no matter what they tell you. So who are you passionate about serving? Big question. Here's the last one. What are you passionate about in the world? What is it in the world? Let me say it this way. What in the world brings you passion? What are you passionate about in the world? There are some people who love sports. That's what I love about guys like Shannon Sharp. You know, Skip. Hey, Skip. Now, come on, Skip. Come on, Skip. Skip seems like everything Skip. Got to go to the bathroom. Skip, go to the bathroom, Skip. Come on now, Skip. He's passionate about football. How do I know? Man, the dude studies. He learns When you sit down, you look at him, he sounds like abracadabra. But when Shannon Sharpe gets done talking to you, listen to me. You know he studied sports. There aren't too many people who would study sports that much. And he has to because Skip Bayless is not going to let him off the hook. And I'm sure that was one of the stipulations for him getting on the show with Skip. Shannon, you got to do your homework. You better know more than me. And every time he's correcting him, he stuck to his deal because that's his area of passion. Shout out to Shannon Sharpe because he is killing it right now. So I love to see people in their area of passion. Stephen A. Smith. These guys are serious about their sports, man. I mean, they live it. This is all they do. Bob Costas, all those guys, they're serious about their sports. That's what they are passionate about in the world. Maybe you're passionate about education. Maybe you're an educator. Maybe you're passionate about children, and keeping children safe. Maybe that's it. Most of the time, or oftentimes, something related to health happens to you. You have a health scare. My wife in 2017 was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had to go through surgery, chemo, radiation, that sort of thing. And guess what? Now her passion is healthy living. And usually causes like that come out of an experience that you've had with it. So this is passion driving purpose. Now, I just taught him up. I hope you received that. I hope it did something for you. I hope it took you somewhere you weren't already. If it did, maybe I gave you a refresher. Maybe I just cranked that thing up for you and got you back on track. Listen, I'm excited about your future. I'm excited about what's happening in your life, and I'm excited about your purpose. If you've already got purpose, let's help you get some finances wrapped around that thing. Let's help you move that thing forward, and let's help you get to the next place because we help people build business around purpose. Now, you can check me out on kfrancissmith.tv, and that's my website. And you can come back here on the Purposepreneur Show. We're here every Monday. You can send your questions to me at questions@purposepreneur.tv. If you have any questions related to purpose or business, send them to questions@purposepreneur.tv. And what I'll do is I'll answer them right here on the show. Maybe, who knows? Maybe one day we'll go live and I'll sit right here, talk to you, answer your questions. I think that might be a level. Listen, this is K. Francis Smith thanking you for tuning into another episode of the Purposepreneur Show. May all of your dreams become a reality. May you find success in all you do. May you live your life on purpose. I'll see you next Monday at 1 p.m. Till then, you take care and please stay safe.